This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Scott Richmond
and Arnie Sherman.
You're listening to What Do You Know on Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and 98.3 FM.
Arnie Sherman, a good Sunday morning to you.
Scott, it's good to see you.
You too.
It's summertime. We're in the midst of everything good about Montana, the reason everybody wants to be here and come here. So I'm very excited about that. Although it's reminiscent a little bit this year of No Way Out, the movie No Way Out, because it's hot everywhere. Everybody I talk to, we have friends all over the country. The first topic of conversation is how hot it is. I was checking today as we were, recording today. It's 98 to 100 degrees here in Missoula, and there's
beginning of July.
Right, there's no respite for that. In Vegas, they just set a record of 120 degrees. It had never been that warm in the history of Vegas. In the middle of the desert, it had never been 120 degrees. New York is 97 with 90% humidity. People are dying or sweltering there. No matter where you look, Chicago's hot, Houston's hot, LA is 90 degrees. Given the fact there's no global warming, as we all know, it seems like everywhere that is summertime is having an unusually warm summer. I don't know any place that's having a cooler summer than they've had in the past.
Agreed.
So that's a little bit of a downer for those kinds of things. I know you spent a little time up at the lake. How's the weather at the lake?
Hot.
Yeah.
It's also hot.
And is it hard to get the boats in the water because of
well, the water's higher than it was last year.
Oh, it is higher?
Yeah. It's crazy.
So it's higher but hotter.
Higher and hotter. But the good news is that it's greener than it was last year at this same time last year, which leads us to believe that hopefully, crossing one's fingers, maybe fire season starts later or is not as long as it was last year. Remember, it's not when it's drier, more fires.
Right. But you never know, we might have, we're only amateur, meteorologists.
Sleuths.
Yeah. We only play them on TV. You never know what's going to happen. In August, we may get a rainy jolt.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would, calm things down.
Cool things off.
So, summer has its pros and its cons. I know we're going to find out about tourism pretty soon because we're going to have the airport people coming, telling us about how many embarkations we have and how many folks are coming in and what the airport expansion here is going to do for tourism in our area. There's a lot of things going on, and on today's show we're going to talk about a topic that we talked about before, but it's important to our daily lives, which is garbage and waste disposal. I'm actually fascinated by the topic. Every time I go somewhere in the world, like when you go to Shanghai, a city of 40 million people,
right?
The first thing I think of is, how does the municipal services of a city of 40 million people work? How do they get rid of all the garbage? Where does it go to? What about water? What about heat? What about electricity? What about hospitals and emergency rooms? How does all of that stuff work? And here in Missoula, for our entire time here, I've been here 27 years. We only had one garbage service, one disposal service, and a couple of years ago, a fledgling new group, Grizzly Disposal, came on the scene, and they found a niche against, it's sort of a David and Goliath story. The two largest, waste disposal companies in the United States are Waste Management and Republic, who we have here.
Right.
And they went up against them. So I'm very interested to hear about, their story and how things are going after a couple of years, and whether they're still transporting garbage all the way to Helena, which is what they had to do when they got started, because they had no place to dispose of it in our metro area. And we're talking to Billy Fisher today.
He's the GM.
So we'll find out all the inside scoop on.
I guarantee you, Arnie, after this hour of programming, we are going to know everything and then some.
About disposal.
About disposal.
In the heat of the summer.
Anyway, when we come back, our guest is Billy Fisher, GM of Grizzly Disposal. All right, Arnie, we are back with our guest, Billy Fisher, GM of Grizzly Disposal.
How's it going, fellas?
It's going great. How are you doing today?
So good, so good.
I have to, for full disclosure purposes, I am a customer of your service.
That's
So,
good.
That's
That's good. I was
good.
about to
It's
walk
really
out.
complain. I had to disclose that.
That's perfect. I was going to turn around. I was
And,
going to ask you the same question.
No, and I love being a customer of Grizzly Disposal.
So why do you love being a customer of Grizzly Disposal?
Because you're more accommodating, I have to admit, than Republic had been in the past. We live in a development. We live at Circle H Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
Both Scott and I.
Yeah, I know that.
And in the winter, they put in those big dumpsters at the entrance to our development, and we have to move our garbage a mile from our house.
Yeah.
And I don't have a truck,
No.
and I don't want to every day drop a bag of So we called them and tried to negotiate. They wouldn't come. They wouldn't come to our house. You started. We called you up. They said we'll pick you up all winter. We've never had a problem.
We're sending him you're giving him a quick softball right off the bat.
That is awesome. Like, I didn't even know. Obviously, I didn't know.
No. But I'm saying you were accommodating immediately, and you didn't have any problem getting to the houses. The reason for not going is because it's a little hilly, and they didn't want to.
Yeah.
But you never had any problem picking up.
No. I mean, I get it. It's steep there, and if it's not taken care of, but we have, we're little, right? It's just me and a couple dudes out there hauling garbage. We have little 4-wheel drive trucks. We have 2 of them. We do that all the time. We service so many more areas that were not serviced before, and it's just funny we're having this conversation. I have this conversation all the time. That's what makes me, excited when you talk to them. Hey, for 20 years, I've had to do this, this, and this. Can we do something different? I'm like, yeah, let's look at it.
Yeah.
Like, let's try it. Now, it's more expensive, it's more time consuming, you have to actually think about what you're doing and have to switch trucks, and who cares? That's my fault, not yours, right? Like, let me see what I can do. Now, there's still situations, people are like, hey, can you come up this cliff? I'm like, nah, I still can't do that, right?
Right.
But, like, I know your situation. I bet there's, 500 people that are in the same situation you are that we've actually now provided service to their house where you should have it, if you could possibly have it. If it's safe enough to do, we still take safety first, but we have little 4-wheel drive, 1-ton vehicles. Like, no other big company's going to have that. Like, you don't have to have a CDL drive it. Like, I could go on a weekend and hang out in that thing. So, yeah, it's awesome to hear. Like I said, it's funny that we're doing this, and I just heard about it from you, but that's
Billy, how long have you guys been in business here in Missoula?
a little over 2 years. May was 2 years.
Arnie, did you switch over right when they got here?
A little bit after, because we were. It was summertime. We were getting a delivery to that. As soon as to the winter schedule, we got out when we knew that you were able to deliver.
We got a lot of customers that first winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: you're going up against one of the 2 titans, right?
Yep.
Republic is one of the biggest in the country.
They are.
I have a new place in Vegas that I'm going to use for the winter. They're the only garbage service for 2.5 million people.
Yep.
And they dictate all the rules there. You have to use them, and they won't do it seasonally. If you're there one day a year, if you want to play, you have to pay for the
Weekly
whole year.
service and
all that kind of stuff. So why did you think you could make a niche for yourself against somebody that big?
It was really easy for me because I was there for 4.5 years. I ran Western Montana for Republic Services for 4.5 years. A lot of people don't know that. I saw a lot of the inadequacies that we were doing, and the big corporation stuff like you're talking about, like, hey, has to be weekly service, you have to do this, we're going to dictate this, and on our schedule, and whatever it is, and we're going to come in your neighborhood at 4 a.m., and we're going to do this and that. I'm like, well, we're missing the boat here. Let's kind of have a concierge service. Like, hey, what time do you want us there? If we can do it, let's try it. What kind of service do you want from us? Let's try it. We're not going to dictate service to you. And I saw that. I saw a lot of dictation going on. Like, hey, we don't offer that because we never have. Or we're not going to go do that because that's outside of our realm. And Vegas is huge. I've been down there. I mean, I think they have 400 trucks, and when you go down there, it's a little scary because they run 24-hour shifts, and they haul out into the middle of the desert at 1 in the morning because it's in these valleys out where the landfill is.
Sure.
It's but I've been down there and I see it, and they're big blue, right? Like that's how they do things on a macro thing, and we do it on a micro level, and that's where I thought we could compete. Like, I've talked to a lot of guys at Republic in the higher ups and stuff like that. I still have a lot of good friends. There's a lot of good people. I don't really appreciate the company. I love the people that are there. Like, don't even think about the people are here, the people in the uppers. A lot of great people. And I talked to them. I was like, hey, We know how to compete against Waste Management, and we know how to compete against Waste Connections. What we've learned is we don't know how to compete against you. They've actually told that to my face, because they don't. If it's a price war, or they need more trucks, or they need more manpower, or whatever, they can go do that. They're built for that. They're built for big things. Missoula market's a big market, right? It's 70,000 home sites. It's whatever it is, 120,000 people in this area. But we're able to take that and provide service on a smaller level. I know most of the stops, right? We have 11,000 people as of last week, and I never thought we'd even get there.
Wait a second. Let's just let that sink in for a second. 11,000. How many did you have after 1 year?
3,200 something.
So they grew 3x.
Yeah, so it was 3, 9, and then now it's 11. So like you look at the end of the first year's 3,000, and then it was 9,000 something, and then we've gained to 11,000 this year.
So let me ask you this. When you first got started, there was a lot of media about the fact that you had to transport your garbage to Helena, Montana.
Yep.
Because you couldn't get a place. So tell us what was that was that all about?
Well, it's a tough battle to fight against, because there's a lot of people that are right and a lot of people that just have an opinion. I tried, and I still have tried, and I still am trying to get access to the landfill. They gave me an official no like 4 months ago. Otherwise, like, oh, we'll think about it, send us a request, or let's keep asking, let's play this game. And then finally I got, nah, we ain't letting you in. Because he actually said, if I let you in, I will officially lose. And so they want to let us in, because they think they can play this long game. But the thing is we're profitable right now when we haul it to Helena and Deer Lodge. Now, a lot of people are like, hey, you have to haul your trash all the way there. I'm like, how are you profitable? Like, well, they're at 48% and I'm at 18%. 30% is my extra haul cost. I mean, it's pretty simple. And they're worried about, like, I hear this stuff all the time about carbon footprint and this and that. I would gladly take it here. It's them that's doing it to this community, not me.
Right.
I would gladly drive it 5 seconds away and go dump it there.
Yeah.
But we're the only ones in town that don't dump in the landfill like everybody wants to. We're trying. So we're doing some things right now to reduce what we got going on. So like right now, we haul all of our trucks every day to Deer Lodge and Helena. Okay,
That's unbelievable.
We are applying for a transfer station permit right now. We're trying to get that to where we can come back, bring it in, maximize that efficiency. Instead of every 3 trucks can be 1 on the road. So we're trying to do our best to minimize what we got. We just got this done. We just bought a new building 2 weeks ago.
How many trucks do you have?
Right now we have 26. We have 22 full trucks and then some other ancillary trucks. So, man, we started with 5.
Right.
We went to like 13, and yeah, I mean, we have 11 almost on the road every day, and then 8 going back and forth. So we almost have 19, 20 trucks on the road every day.
Billy, are there other stories like this around the United States where there's kind of like the David and Goliath?
A monopoly, essentially.
Right, that where like a David is kind of like going up against the Goliath and succeeding.
Yeah, so it happened my previous life. I was at, it's Oldcastle Materials, which is locally known as L.S. Jensen.
Right.
I was there forever, and that's a big, big material provider, right? They would do the same thing. They have a little mom and pop coming on the corner, and they'd open up a little ready mix plant and aggregate shop, and they would kill us.
Right.
Just because our internal price of aggregates, and we bring in big machines, and we used to bore and dig, and our quarries are big, and our stuff's big and expensive. So it's the same thing as Republic. They have a lot of big They do, they'll do energy efficient electric cars. They do natural gas and all the stuff that I can't do, but it all costs money. So they have this big engine they have to feed, and so David wins in that thing a lot. If you can get the community support, like look what's happened. Now we came here. And it was this big David Goliath, and we came in this market 25% less cost than they did. I came in and said, hey, I protect my costs. Here's where I need to be at. I got to make like 15% so I can actually pay back. It's a big beast to run, let me tell you. And we came in and set that price. And now they're the same of us, or lower in a lot of situations, because they've reduced their price in half since I've been here. So just imagine what we did, a little tiny company did for this community. I'm not talking about the people that moved over to us. Even the people that stayed are now saving 40-50% on their garbage bill. Just because of one little, because we finally cracked the code for the last 40 years. I've been, I think, 7 people that tried to get a permit here. And we're the only ones successful because we knew the market. We were here. I have a great partner as a financial backer. It wasn't successful to do it, and it's playing. The fruits are being paid to Missoula. Like if you look around, and I think I want to say
it's the equivalent of a low-cost airline coming in, and then the other airlines have to drop their prices to compete.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
But I mean, like how? And I always tell people, like some people are like, well, they called me back and they want to do this, and they're going to be so nice now. And I'm like, where were they at 20 years ago, 10 years ago?
Yeah, when they were.
I said the only reason you're getting that is because of me, and I hate saying that, like, but you're getting it because of me. And I don't know. We've had so many awesome customers that stick with us, and they know the long game is going to be better with us. Like 1 year, 2 years from now, I'm not going to raise the rates up, and we're not going to start jacking people around, and we're not going to start going back after. We've seen that already in the first 2.5 years.
Yeah.
They gave this huge discount, and now it's back to where it was, or even higher. So there's a lot of games being played, and I don't play games.
And you haven't had any. What kind of turnover have you had? Very little, right?
Very little at all. Like
what's it at? Like you can name the people.
Yeah. So we have
11,000.
We've had turnover of people that were upset with our service. I think is like 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not even kidding you. We've had turnover with people going like, "Hey, I moved and they offered me this great rate. I'm going to try this for a while." Or, "Hey, I'm financially, I got to do this. They offered me that." We've had that kind of turnover. Right. We haven't had unsatisfied or dissatisfied, how you want to say it.
That's crazy.
Right. Yeah. Where do you stand these days on recyclable? Because I know that when we try to get it, you didn't have it.
Yep, we still don't. So we offer cardboard because we can recycle it here at Pacific. They actually allow us in their facility. If we could get into Republic's facility right now, I'd do it tomorrow. So with this transfer station, we will offer it. If we get it, we're going to offer recycling. And I actually set up a pretty good deal with their competitor to ship it, and I'll be able to do it at a pretty good cost. I have things. It's a lot of things take a long time to get in motion, but I'm telling you right now, it's set up. If we get this transfer station, we're going to start offering recycling.
Where will the transfer station be?
West of town. Somewhere in Missoula County, yeah.
Somewhere.
But no, I'm excited to be able to offer that too. We have a lot of customers that are just like, "Hey man, I gotta recycle, I gotta do this," and we'll use their SMART program, which I think is a little bit better. I don't know if you know about recycling and what happens with it in Missoula.
Tell us.
Okay, so they take it, and all-in-one is actually their product. Everybody thinks it's the way to recycle. It's not the best way to recycle, but all-in-one, you take everything, put it in one container. It comes back to the local recycling center. They put up a belt. It goes down. It gets smushed. It gets compacted into a bale. It sits in there. Then it gets shipped on a truck, and it goes out to Washington. So people think, "Oh, I got this local recycling. I do all this stuff." There's more material. Anyway, that goes a lot longer than our garbage does. And then when it gets out there, it gets cut open, and it gets sorted. Okay? That place that it goes doesn't take 3 through 7 plastics. But the local operation takes 3 through 7 plastics. So we don't know what happens when it goes over there. Like if you look at their thing, and they might have a better special deal, but when you look at Pioneer Recycling and where it goes, we don't know where those upper end plastics go because they're really, really hard to recycle. So we went with waste management system that doesn't have it in there. It's the same kind of concept. You put it all in one, but we don't have the upper 3 through 7s that are in there because they're hard to recycle, and it doesn't. We don't really know where that goes.
How's your commercial business outside of the residential stuff?
That's actually taken off bigger than we thought. Last week we put out our 1100 3-yard. I thought we would have 500.
1,100 so far.
3 yards.
3 yards.
So
3 yards is a container size.
Yeah,
right.
A big dumpster.
Yeah.
Our commercial.
That's amazing.
Commercial is. I would say it's 60% of our revenue base, and then you have 30% residential and 20% roll-off industrial business.
That's crazy. Isn't that amazing?
And what about cleaning up on the sites of all these new construction around town?
Yeah, so we kind of hit a home run with that little idea. So we offered, say, Hayden Homes came to town, and they're like, "Hey, we're tired of all this cleanup and having to haul our trash to local areas and these big roll-off boxes like that." I said, "Hey, why don't we put 4 yards at every one of your homes?" He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it 4 yards at every one of your homes." And he's like, "Okay, let's try it." The dude loves it. So we put a 4 yard at every house they do, and they come out and they bring their trash, and there's going to be stuff next or whatever. We go in there every Thursday morning and we clean them all up. So they don't have to get them together. They don't have stuff around their houses. They do a really good job, and they keep their site really clean. And we go in there, and we have right now I think we have 25 because they're doing so many houses, And it's something they've never offered in Missoula. It's, we call them temp 4 yards.
Right.
But they sit and they just keep moving them from home to home to where your plumber and electrician and everything can just come out the door and
With
dump it
their
in a
stuff.
4 yard and not have to haul it, because if they have to haul it more than like 2 logs, they're going to throw it in the yard.
How do you guys take it in from the 4 yard?
We use our little trucks. So we'll back on the actual lot, and we'll use our little trucks and then dump it. So that's another little niche that little tiny things can get in there.
It's amazing when you think about this. Well, let's do a quick idea. Our guest is Billy Fisher, GM of Grizzly Disposal and Recycling. I looked at his.
It's one of the things you don't really think much about. I was talking in the intro to the show, but when I go to big cities like Shanghai or somewhere where there's 40 million people, I always wonder, how do they get rid of all their waste? How do they, human waste and construction waste and garbage and. I was recently in New York, and you wake up on garbage day, and every street is piled up halfway with all kinds of bins and wrapped up cardboard. I always wonder, where the hell does all this stuff go?
It's garbage.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so much of it.
Well, take that to another extreme, and where does it go in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, where does it go in Hawaii?
Barges mostly back here.
Back here.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. Have you ever watched it? I probably don't watch like I do, but you like in Portugal or whatever, they have these big bins or these baskets that sit out every houses, and you'll see the guy come and do delivery. He runs and grabs and throws them in the truck, like they're just sitting on like they look like telephone poles.
Yeah.
And they come out there in those baskets, and he's just grabbing bag by bag by bag. We grab everything we can get. Obviously, the most uniform you can do is put it in a container and dump it for the guys, but they got to get out. They got to haul it just like everybody else. But I've been to, and I've seen the operation that Republic used to have in Boston. They'll go down 3 or 4 elevators and come up and haul the stuff and this and that too. So it's a really different concept when you think about big city hauling.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a little different. Yeah.
Arnie, I was going to ask you. You've traveled all over the world. What's it like in other countries? Like Japan, or China creates a ton of garbage.
Well, it's not only the way they handle garbage, but in places, for example, like Switzerland, they have cameras around, and if you dump your recyclables in the wrong, depository, they will fine you. You'll get a ticket.
They will,
in the mail.
right?
Oh yeah, they're very strict about that sort of stuff.
But as a society, though, we create a lot of garbage. I mean, that's just the fact of like our consumables, the products we buy. They're all in packaging that become garbage, etc.
Right.
In other countries,
we have
it's not as.
We don't have the most progressive packaging, for example. There's lots of places that have water in sort of paper
soluble,
containers.
right.
They have in Europe now. The last time I was in Europe, the spin-off tops on drinks don't come loose, so they're not individually, all over the place.
They're kept with.
The thing doesn't break off, so there's all these little things trying to do a better job with recycling and with control of waste material.
Well, so we create a lot of garbage, but at the same time, being in Montana, a lot of outdoor recreation people know how to manage their waste.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They keep their footprint really small when they're out hunting, whatever. Because you don't want to haul that. You want to haul your.
You always see these things on the air, about the plastic tops on 6-packs and how birds get around their neck. Well, there's a company I just saw 2 days ago on an ad that has made the tops that go on 6-packs are edible for birds and for wildlife.
Are you kidding?
So that if you toss them or they end up in the water,
Billy, there's an idea.
They can. Yeah. Well, there's already a company who figured that out, and
you'll see
making edible ones.
These concert stuff now. You see all this
Oh, yeah.
water in aluminum. Because aluminum's the easiest recyclable material.
Yeah.
It's a little higher cost than plastic, but a lot of people are starting to recognize, hey, let's do aluminum, because we can actually take it from A to Z with less energy. So that's the best way to go right now. And you see a lot of that. You see a lot of bottled water in aluminum. You see a lot of aluminum things. The biggest influx we saw, like post-COVID, and why we stuck to cardboard is Amazon deliveries, home deliveries. I mean, there's so much of an influx in cardboard because people are buying online and getting shipped to their house. That's a big one for recyclables. Mm-hmm. But cardboard, corrugated cardboard, actually recycles fairly easy. But that's something you got to be educated on too, because people have cardboard plastic linings, cardboard with other stuff in it that do not recycle very well. So recycling is tough because everyone wants to do it, everyone wants to do the right thing, but you have to educate the customer, and they have to be willing to take the energy to separate this stuff. Like, you can't just have this catch-all, and you put recycling at a fair, whatever.
Forget about it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
because people don't know, they don't care. Like airport recycling, you see those 3 bins you go to airport; those are always contaminated. Because who cares when they get on the flight? They put the banana in the wrong spot.
Right,
Like,
right.
It's hard.
You're just running by it. You dump it whichever
But
one you can get into.
You're talking about like Japan and China. So it is a cultural thing too. Like people around here, we have to get ingrained that these things have to go in their certain spots because there's only a limited amount of stuff.
Right.
There
So
are many,
it's tough.
for example, in Japan, where they have a huge population, a limited amount of space to do things like waste disposal and recycling. They have a culture in which you bring your own water bottles to restaurants and stores, and they fill them up. You don't take a plastic cup, or
Right.
You just are used to doing it that way.
We looked at
It saves millions of dollars, actually. as well.
explorative way to take your waste and turn it into something like, and I don't want to get into it because it's a product somebody else's, but there's a plant up and running in a country right now, and it's not a polymerization, but it's a product like that. But you'll break your organics down and use it for basic combustion to then takes the plastics and all the other stuff and turn it back into biodiesel. And you can use the biodiesel obviously for fuel, and then they have a gas it provides, and they're building, their whole theory is they want to build these, they started out with low-income housing units, and they can actually provide the gas and the energy to them right next to them, and then they can take the diesel and sell it somewhere else. I think you're going to see that come up. It's just so new, and we were nervous because it's so new, but we're talking to a company for a long time because we don't care. We'd love it to be used for somewhere else because I don't make money at the landfill. Like, let's take it wherever we can. So we're trying to talk to these people, and
it takes a long time to change habits. When I was a kid growing up, people used to throw stuff out of the car window in their
Oh my
house.
God, I remember that.
That was the way
sometimes you
got
got to get rid of the beer cans.
Well, it depends on who's chasing you.
Yeah.
We're spitting gum. Hey, Billy.
It just depends on who's behind you.
Talk to us a little bit about. So you're from here, right? Give us a little biographical. Are you from Missoula?
I'm from Polson, Montana.
Polson. Okay.
Yeah. Proudly from Polson, Montana. I came here, went to college here, and I've been here the rest. So I've been here longer than I was in Polson, but so I've been here since 1997.
That's when I got here.
Yeah, so I mean, Missoula's my home, Polson's my hometown. Proud to be from there. I go back there a lot. But yeah, I mean, I'm from here. Everybody.
And what are you doing to educate and get the community involved with Grizzly Disposal? Because I think that's a big idea and initiative, not just to support local community things that you guys do, and I want to hear about that.
And
but
a homegrown company.
Exactly, a homegrown company, a local company, but also, like, what are you doing to educate the community about disposal? And
I don't know about the education part. We try to do whatever we can, though, to be a part of whatever we can. There's limited means, funds, time. I try to do a lot of stuff on the micro level. I think you probably have 18 little T-ball teams I have right now. So, like, if anybody comes to my door, and I shouldn't even make this public, I can't say no. So I usually hide in the back because I can't say no to like little kids that come and ask for a donation. We try to get out. I mean, obviously, podcasts here and there. Let people what's going
radio,
on.
podcast, TV.
But I'm pretty transparent. Like if somebody asks, I give them a straight answer, and we talk about it, and we can go through it. I don't.
But you have to have
down there.
You have to have a filter or something that's like, hey, if it's athletics, if it's youth oriented, like certain criteria.
I really don't. I'll be honest with you,
ladies and gentlemen. If you have,
I know.
three.
The biggest thing for me in being local and being part of this community is I try to do as much business, I don't care what the cost is, locally. So I could get my paper somewhere else, I get it locally. I can get my supplies somewhere else. I go to, I'm not going to give these names out because I have so many customers. I eat at the people that have my service.
Right.
Like, I go to places that have, and I because I respect that as a small business owner.
Sure, that's the way to do it.
I want to give you the best service, and I want you to do the best value. And then if you're going to use my service, I'm going to do the same thing with you. Like that's how we try to do things. And we'll find like I'll have my employees sometimes like, hey, I found this on Amazon, this or this. I said, well, did you try to source this locally? Did you try to go somewhere in Missoula and find this? Because if everybody did that, man, you'd have a machine here in Missoula. So we try to do that. True. I do everything I possibly can when it comes to. I'm on the GSA board now. I haven't actually been on there yet. They called me the other day, and I want to start getting into stuff like that too, just so I can see what the community needs, what kind of questions they have. Like it'd be awesome if I had a conversation with you before today, like, man, I have this issue. Can you help out? Right? And that's what I want to do. I want to solve those kind of things. Cool. That really makes it fun. That's
let me ask you this. You mentioned your employees.
Yeah.
Are you having problems finding good employees like every other business in town is having?
Not really. Like, so we're going through a growth phase right now, and I am advertising actively right now for people. And I hired 2 guys last week. I got 1 guy starting next week. Good. We haven't been to where, hey, we can't service, or hey, we need to slow down, or this and that. We are actively hiring right now. We're growing. I'm very lucky. We started out with like our core 5, and it's people I knew and I have a ton of experience. And I actually hired somebody from the other company about a year ago, been there 50 years, and she left to come work for me. 50 years, and she's awesome. And she says, I just want the way it feels, and I love the way. And she'll tell me every day, like, I love the way around the office, and you come in and you actually joke with me at the end of the day. And when the customer says, hey, can I have this? You're like, let's try. Not like no. And so she loves that too. But she's 50 years. So she's awesome. But and we have a lot of new employees that we got lucky.
How many people are you employing right
30.
now? 30 people. Wow.
Yeah. So we're and they changed kind of the CDL rules, and we had to become a training facility too. And luckily, I had 2 guys on my team that have been driving and doing stuff for 30 years. So we were able to set us up as a training facility. So now we can bring people on that really don't have experience, but want to go out and work. I need somebody to work. I can teach the people a job. You can't teach people how to work.
Right.
And so now we go and train them. We'll get them their CDL. We'll take them through our program. We'll go down and get tests. My son is doing it right now. He graduated from high school. He wants to try out the G thing for a while. So he's hauling garbage and getting his CDL, and he's going to see how this feels to him before he decides what he wants to do further in his life. So, and I wouldn't do the same thing with my kid that I wouldn't do with somebody else that I didn't know was safe and efficient, and we're doing the right things. And it's amazing how you start thinking about that. Like when your kid's in the back of a truck.
Right.
Okay, hold on a second. You better not be stepping on a step when they're backing up, or hey, you better be cleared. You better.
Right.
And if you think about it all the time, it really changes the guy's perspective. I always want to think about the employee first and this and that, but it is way different. Like, hold, let's really think about this.
So you're building a really good company culture and mindset, which is what keeps people employed there, but also keeps people staying there too, right? Yeah. So you got great retention. Talk to us a little bit about when you reach out to the community. I know that you're doing some cool fundraising things, things that help other organizations turn garbage into dollars.
That's the neatest stuff. Like that kind of gives me chills. Like the stuff we did, and I always say it's a little company, and it's just us. There's no big man behind the machine. You're talking to me and my employees. Obviously, that's all there is here. We started about 18 months ago. We started with the local organization, Chicks and Chaps, so we did the Pink Can program. And we had a lot of success with that. And the cool thing is you get the pink can. I order it, I do that stuff. But the consumer chooses to donate to whatever their cause is, right? And then I donate also, right? So it's the community, not just me. It's the community coming together and say, hey, we're going to support this, and this. So we started out with pink cans, and in the 18 months we've been doing it, we donated over $25,000. And so people saw this, and we can do it because the other company can't do it because they got to be blue, they have to be branded, they have to have their R's on there. We're like, yeah, we can. Well, pink cans. So now we have red cans for Missoula Catholic Schools. We have maroon cans for the GSA. These are just getting started. Like Missoula Catholic Schools just started today. The GSA started 2 weeks ago. This is the neat stuff. Like I love when somebody calls and like they want, because you wheel out kind of your fraternity. Like you're gonna wheel out your Grizz can, you're gonna wheel out your pink can. Like people like around the blocks, and all people call me like, I just want to get that Grizz can because my neighbor's a Bobcat fan. I'm like, perfect. I don't care, right? Like I love this stuff, and just imagine what we could do though. Like
Justice Alito.
If you get that though, like at any level, it's so scalable. Like you can take, and we're gonna help put kids in tuition into Catholic schools. We're gonna help scholarship athletes go to the university. We're gonna help. The biggest one, obviously, help support people going through cancer and have their needs. The cancer support community just came on with us last week too, and they're going to start doing the same thing to try to raise funds to what they do, which is awesome. They're two different companies.
The customized cans being read. And I mean, it's like license plates, right? They
Yes,
figured that out a
that's
long time
exactly
ago.
right.
I mean, it's a cool thing to do. Let me talk about the business end of things for
Yeah.
a minute here.
Yeah.
How hard was it to convince someone to finance this thing 28 months ago when you got started, to go up against a republic?
He was begging to do it. He wanted to do it more than I did. So he did it.
And the who is...
Lance Johnson,
Okay.
L&L. So he did it in 2007 in Bozeman. And so he was successful doing it there. He always wanted to go over here. He actually tried to get a permit when I was here, and he failed. I tell him all the time, like, hey, you know. So then he kind of came back, and he wanted to do it again, and things weren't going the way I wanted, and things were changing and stuff like that. I'm like, you know what, hey, yeah, let's make a run at this thing. So it was no convincing at all
Cool.
for him to do it. He needed some like me and the team over here to do it. He was all about it. He was convincing us.
Well, what do you think was inspiring his wanting to do this?
He saw what happened in Bozeman, and he saw kind of the combative techniques that they did against him once he started business, and he just has a disdain. I don't have the same disdain, right? I've never had a bad thing with Republic, or I don't.
Right.
He has such a disdain with them because he just like, man, they do things right, and I'm doing it, and he does things right. He does. You know, you should go. His shop's clean, his truck's clean, his routes are done, his customers are happy, and I wanted to take that. I went and saw the organization that he ran. I'm like, you know what? That's the kind of organization I want to run. Like
For our listeners
Cool.
who don't know what L&L is, why don't you explain it?
L&L Site Services in Belgrade. They do the same exact thing with us. They start with roll-off. They do all
What's
gamuts.
roll-off? What's roll-off?
Industrial, the bigger ones, the 20,
Okay.
34 yards.
Right.
They started there, and then they branched out, and he's very, very successful over there. And they offer the same service we do in Bozeman. And if you look in Bozeman, they have the city, and they have Republic, and they have L&L. And
Where does he haul to? Does he
Logan Landfill. So what's cool thing about there, it's a county-owned landfill, like they all should, in my mind. You shouldn't privatize.
Yeah, most of the landfill around the country
most of them are
publicly owned.
Right.
You know what bugs me about the landfill, and I just gotta tell you.
Yeah.
Like, people are worried about where we take stuff and this and that. Or do you realize that, you know, this is a profit center for them, and they take garbage from other states and bring it here,
Oh,
right?
is that
So
right?
everybody's worried about like what we're doing and how we're hauling. Like it just caught a nerve right there, because like they should be community, and it should be regional based. You should have a regional flow control. Like if you have these center hubs, and we have a safe record, and we don't have any violation, you should be able to dump there, right? Like
Right.
you should be able. That is this community's resource.
Right.
What if tomorrow they came and said, you know what, I'm not going to let Missoula County dump there? It'd probably be a big issue. You know what they're saying right now? They're telling 33% of you guys you can't dump there. So it's the
Right.
same issue in my mind. So that's what bugs me is stuff comes from Idaho. All of Lake County stuff comes here. All of Ravalli County stuff comes here. And everybody's worried about the 10,000 tons I take out. They make 30, 40,000 tons from out of state in here. So when I have that conversation with somebody, and it just, obviously my hair's standing up.
Right.
'Cause
And you're going to pay just like they pay
Yeah,
for it. Right.
But they're the ones doing all it. Like,
Right.
if you want to worry about me traveling somewhere or stuff traveling in, they choose to let them travel 100 miles in here, and they choose to make me go 83 miles down the road.
Right.
Like, it's not me. Like, I always keep saying,
Right.
like, I would love to do it. And people are like, yo, you're the bad person. You're driving all those miles. Like, pfft, whatever.
Isn't there someone that could be involved? Isn't there like a government entity that could get involved to say like, hey, you got to force the hand?
Oh, yeah, let her rip.
What would that be? Who was that? The Public Service Commission?
PSC does not regulate
No.
landfills. DEQ regulates landfills.
Ah.
We went to the federal commission, wrote a letter. They said, yeah, it's unjust. We need to look into it. That was about 3 years ago. It's just so hard to get things. We could probably win an antitrust lawsuit. We probably could. We just haven't went down that road because we're actually successful at what we're doing. And you know what? We're going to compete with them, and we're going to build this transfer station. And we might, build our own landfill, and we might really take, whatever.
Right.
So at this point, heck with them. Like if they're going to do it, whatever. They should, and it should be regional. Like this is, if you had a huge platform and it got sent out, I would love to have that message sent out. Like, I wish somebody was around here. I wish we had some kind of political agenda to go look at this, because what if they did? take it all away from. They're already taking away disposal for the city of Missoula for 33% of you people, right? What happens if you go start a company tomorrow and it's you and I and Republic, and you're the same? You get another 11,000 customers. You have the other 30%. So now 66% of the whole valley cannot dispose of their waste. You got to think about that level because it's scary.
Right.
It's scary that somebody.
What I would do.
What if Northwest Energy told you next week, like, you know what? Hey, I'm not giving you gas.
This is why John Engen wanted the city to control the water.
Yes.
Yeah,
This is exactly why he wanted.
If I was starting a third company,
for people that had a problem,
I would go to the
with that,
county and
this is
say,
why.
let's do a joint venture.
Yes.
And we'll we'll pay for it all.
I'll fund the whole thing right now.
Yeah.
I will.
That's what I would do if I was starting a company. I'd go to the county and say, you can dispose here for free.
Yeah.
Save the public money.
Seriously. 2 seconds.
Yeah.
2 seconds. You hear? I mean, like,
And if you were doing that, all of a sudden Republican would let you use their landfill.
yes, exactly. So
Yeah, they would.
They would.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. Like, oh, it's our airspace and we own it. There's 300 years up there. I mean, they have so much. They bought the whole Ryan Ranch over there, the whole thing all the way to Grant Creek.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's not like since we came in this business, we've generated
Billy-
33% more.
Yeah.
You know who Billy reminds me of? I'm going to tell you right now. Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Yeah, right.
All this boxing, you kind of nerves there. I was like, man, that
I
just
know.
makes me mad because it should just be like, you should have this asset.
Well, yeah, and I
agree.
understand. I mean, you're a competitor.
Yeah.
And
Billy,
you don't want to
but
let
the good
your
news is-
competitor in.
Well, the good news is that that's what this is all about, though. Like the David and Goliath story is real.
Well, there's
right?
something else to this. There's another piece to this. which
Please.
is You work there. They
Yeah.
know how good you are. They
How
know
do you let 'em go?
how engaged you are and
Yeah.
how committed you are. And they, are a little bit intimidated by that. Even though you're small, they don't want you to get big enough to be a problem
No.
for them.
No,
Yeah.
they're making the right business decision.
Yeah.
If I was up there, I'd blow them out of the water. I mean, but they really should. I mean, like, so we need to, and we're working on it. Like I said, trash stations, step 1.
Right.
Adjacent or somewhere close to landfill, step 2.
Right.
It's just a longer process. They're gonna. The bad thing, that's out there, talk to them, right? They're gonna really lose in the long run because they have a chance to still win and still have annual dollars at the landfill and solid
more
waste
revenue.
tons.
They would have more revenue.
They'd have $1 million a year more revenue right
Yeah.
now. Okay, so they're giving that up.
That's
to try to-
basically almost net because they're just
yes.
Too big.
Yeah. So, but in the long run, if we succeed and we do all this stuff and we take the time and we seriously make minimal and money through the whole thing, we're profiting, but it's not exciting, right?
Right.
I gotta let you know. But we go through this process and we do this. We're gonna be that regional landfill, and we're gonna work with the county, and we're gonna work with the city, and
Right.
try to see what we can do.
You would give up points and margin to be able to solve problems for people.
Yes.
yeah.
And because for you, winning is not just the money aspect, it's the aspect of the community feeling like you're solving a problem for them and
Right.
you're making their lives easier.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. And that's what I enjoy about it all the time. No matter what we do, we've made this situation better. No matter if we have more customers left, they've changed.
Right.
They've actually got better at what they've done too. Like we see it. We see cleaning closures, and we see people getting serviced on Sunday when they're supposed to. And stuff. We see all this stuff. They've gotten better. They've paid more attention to what they're doing.
Right.
They're sending a better message about being sustainable and
Well,
here and local.
they're not a monopoly anymore. Monopolies get lazy.
They've got better, and so we're still better. And I'll stand by that mark all day long. Like it's like Coke and Pepsi, but we're better.
Yeah, no.
Our
Our guest is Billy Fisher. He's the GM of Grizzly Disposal and Recycling. Arnie, I feel like the one thing that we should touch on, because I know from a business perspective, this story fascinates you.
Right.
Do you want to know what his margins are, or what he's operating on? Like, talk
We
a
talked a
little.
little bit about that earlier. What I'm more interested in, actually, rather, is to find out. I mean, there are other places in Montana, like Great Falls and up in Kalispell that's growing, and those areas. Do you have ambitions to expand into other cities?
Yes, none of those two that you named, but I do have ambitions to go somewhere close by, maybe 2 counties that are adjacent to this one. But you look at, there's still places like Great Falls, Butte, that have sole haulers, right? Kalispell has 4.
4?
What about Billings?
Billings has 3. Bozeman has 2 in the city, 3. So you look at those places.
How does Kalispell have 4?
That's this
competition.
Big. Yeah. You got Evergreen, City, Waste Connections, and Republic.
Got
so
it.
you got there's a ton up there. If you were providing service to the community, it'd be one thing. But you got to be able to provide service. Everybody's there. You got to be able to provide it in a timely manner, and you got to be able to do it for an honest rate. And so now we kind of do that here. And I don't see there's any need for change here because we're not even at capacity yet. But as we grow, there may be in the future.
What about Helena?
Helena has 2. It's a smaller, Tri-County's over there in the city, but it's a smaller operation. I think they do well with the service that's provided there. You got to look at places that are lacking service. The biggest thing for the PSC is do we provide an adequate service in an adequate amount of time? They don't really care about rates. So they're not like the gas or the other utilities that are rate regulated. They're permit regulated. So they try to make sure that everybody has the service they need. And now they do here. And those other expansions, but I want to expand to another area pretty close because there's a lot of things I think that we could do. There's a lot of, in the smaller communities, no one really goes to them because there's not much margin. There's not very many customers.
Hamilton or Florence or...
Yeah, I'm really talking about Drummond.
Drummond, right, yeah.
Lake County, Mineral County, because they kind of depict hey, you're going to do it this way because I'm going to have this one truck do this one route, do this thing. So you can go in there, you can provide a little bit better level of service. So I think there's some avenues there to move. So we might move around this area. We may. I want to get us stable and provide the best product we can do here, and then move forward. So. We're there. We're at step 1. We're gonna build a transfer station. We're at step 2, and then expansion might be in that step 2.5.
Back after these words. All right, we are back with our guest Billy Fisher.
So Billy, give us some of the logistics on this thing, and some of the details. What are the rates? What are the service areas?
So service area is easy. That's all Missoula County, and our rates are pretty easy, not that. So anything in the local Missoula market residentially, you're $95. It kind of goes up like $10 as you get farther away from us, just for fuel and haul costs.
$95 for what?
A quarter.
Quarter
for a can. Obviously, multiple can discounts. There's so many rates. If you look at our rate book, I bet there's 130 rates, and we might use 4 of them. But you'll have multiple cans. You'll have multiple day a week service. Most commercial businesses are between $100 to $180 a month, when you get it out there. So, and then you have the 65-gallon cans. A lot of seniors use the littler cans because they don't, much trash. In town, it's $80. We have senior and veteran discounts, so it's 5% off all those. Pretty standard though. The cool thing about our pricing is I said it May 1st, 2022, and it hasn't changed.
That's unusual.
So that people are like, man, you're not no price. I'm like, not this year. And I said, I'm not going to even do it in 2025. I'll tell you that right now. We're trying to get more efficient, and we're trying to get better. We don't operate in high margins. I'm not going to tell you that. We're profitable now for the first time, as of the last 6 months. But we're going to get better, and as we get bigger, we're going to get more efficient, and we're going to try to get better, and we're going to do things different. We're going to build these things. So we're going to do it ourselves.
So how do people get a hold of you? If somebody wants to sign up right now, they're listening to the show and they want to sign up. 541-7171.
You can go. We have go online, grizzlydisposal.com. We have a great guy doing our websites. You can see all of our donation programs on there. There's a place in there to contact us for service. I get them all. I get probably 10 to 12 emails a day that come off that website saying, hey, I'd like to service at this site, or I'd like a quote for this or that. You can get anything on that site you want, from a 95-gallon can to a 3-yard to a 40-yard container.
That's great. What's the most unexpected thing that's happened to you?
I didn't expect the response starting this business from Missoula community, right? They don't, a lot of people, I know a lot of people, and I have a lot of friends here, but people are passionate about being Missoula grown and homegrown and taking on something big and being the little guy. It's amazing. We had so many people blindly they don't know who we are. I'm switching you guys. I'm with you guys. I want to fight this with you. I'm going to stick with you. That was what caught me off. I don't know if it was a mind-blowing daily, but I was like, holy cow. They all did this, and they moved, and they didn't care about the price, and they didn't care about this, and they care. They was like, I'm sticking with you. I can call you direct. You know, I just thought that was the coolest thing. Is like, seriously, the support and the people we have now, we don't lose too many customers.
That's really great.
That's awesome.
Isn't it amazing that
Yeah.
Missoula loves the underdog?
See you next week.
All right, I'll
Billy,
see you
thank
next
you for
Sunday.
being here.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you for listening to What Do You Know?
I can't wait for the next show, Scott.
I'm excited too, Arnie. If you'd like to suggest a guest, send me an email at scottrichmond@townsquaremedia.com. We'll see you next week. And thanks for listening to Newstalk KGVO,